Kris of LightandJoyDesigns, and welcome back to the Crochet Magical Mystery Tour, which is a year-long crochet along where I present weekly free crochet patterns, monthly giveaways, and more. Please check the description below for links to all of the other patterns so far. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make the Color Pop Cowl. And in this tutorial, we're going to be learning a couple of cool things. First of all, we're going to be learning a couple of stitches that you may not have worked with before. One is called the alternate double crochet, and the other one is called extended alternate double crochet. In addition to that, we're going to be making our own colorful yarn. You can use skeins that you have available, or this is actually a project you could use for stash busting if you have excess yarn left over. So if you like getting free patterns, if you could give this a thumbs up right now, that would be awesome. And without further ado, let's get started. For this project, you're going to be using 5 different colors that you're going to be crocheting with all together. You're also going to need a scissors, a yarn needle for thick yarn, a 15mm crochet hook, and a measuring tape. The colors I'm using today are, I'm using Lion Brand Pound of Love in the colorway Lavender. I'm using this older Red Heart Super Saver accent yarn. I don't know the color of it, but it's like a fuchsia. I'm also using Premier Everyday yarn in a colorway called Bright Violet. I'm using I Love This yarn in a colorway called Mango, and a Red Heart Super Saver in the colorway Shocking Pink. And like I said, you can work with any yarns that you like. You can use scrap yarns, or you can work right from skeins that you already have. Regarding the crochet hook, I'm using a 15mm crochet hook. Actually, this is 15.75. And if you have a larger crochet hook, you can use that, or if you want to use smaller, you can use whichever one works well for you. But today I'm using this one that's 15.75. It's essentially the same, you know, if you have a 15mm one, it's going to be virtually the same result. So as you can see, I'm working with 5 strands, and for choosing your strands, you know, put them together, and if you want to see how it might look, what you can do is you can try twirling it a little bit, and then kind of going back and forth a little bit, and this will give you a feeling for how the colors will look in your cowl, so you can see if you're going to like this combination over time. So I went through and I got my combination here of these 5 colors. Now if you are using scraps of yarn, like old yarn, if you get to a place where you run out of one, you can always just reattach a new strand from another set of scraps to continue with your 5 strands. You can do that by just tying an invisible knot, and I'll show you how to do that right now. So let's say we came to the end of one of our scrap yarns, and we want to add in a new yarn. What you're going to do is you'll take the 2 ends together, and I think this is called a magic knot. And then you're going to take the new one that you're adding in and put it on the right hand side. You're going to be holding just a little bit above your thumb. You're going to be holding it nice and tight between your thumb and your forefinger. You're going to take the new strand and you're going to wrap it around your thumb, and underneath these two threads, you're going to pull it kind of tight, and then wrap it a second time under those two threads and pull it kind of tight. Then you're going to pull it on top of those threads but under your thumb, just a little bit, not really tight but just a little bit, because you want there to be sort of a little loop under there. Then you're going to take these two, I like to kind of twist them once, and then this is the little tricky part, is you're going to take your thumb and you're going to push it down and then hold it in place with your thumb. Now you're going to be holding this nice and tight, and then you're going to, as you're holding this is nice and tight, you're going to pull this end, and then you're going to have this nice magic knot. And usually you won't even have any fuzzies, and these knots hold really, really well. So that's the magic knot. That's how you would change colors. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get our 5 colors and get them all lined up together, and we're going to pull down, we're going to kind of pull them out and leave a generous tail, so that it's, because it is a little, you'll want a little bit longer tail than normal for sewing in the ends. It'll just make it easier for you in the end. Okay, so to begin, we're going to create a slip knot, leaving that long tail. We're going to put it on our hook. Make sure that it goes onto the thick part of the hook. You don't want to be working on this skinny end, or else your stitches won't be the right size. So we're going to make half double crochet foundation crochet. So let me just show you a quick little diagram. Normally when we do this, we start projects by making chains. Then we chain 2, and then we go into each chain and make our half double crochet. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to work in this direction now. Instead, we're going to make this all in one go. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with chain 3, then we're going to go into this chain, we're going to make a chain, and then we're going to make our half double crochet. Then we're going to go into this chain, make a chain, and then make our half double crochet. And we do that all the way to the end until we have the number of stitches we want, which in this case is going to be 10 stitches. Now if you want to make your cowl bigger, like a cape, you can make it as tall as you'd like. The way that this works, this cowl, is we are going to be working, our 10 stitches are like this, and we're going to be working back and forth this way, and then we will connect our beginning edge to our ending edge to create the tube. Okay. All right, so let's do our chain 3. We yarn over, pull through 1, 2, and 3. And when you're working with the 5 strands and a larger hook, just go ahead and be generous with your stitches. You don't need to stitch this tight. This is going to be a kind of a bulky item. And give yourself time to get used to it. You'll be a little slow at first, but pretty soon you'll get used to working with the large hook and the 5 strands. So what we're going to do is we're going to act as if we're making a half double crochet, and to do that we yarn over, and we're going to go into this first chain, And if you recall, we're going to make our, we yarn over and pull through a loop. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make our chain. So there's our chain 1 that we had talked about. This is our chain 1. Now we're going to make the half double crochet. Again, make sure these are all on the largest part of the hook. To make the half double crochet, we're going to pull through all 3 of these loops on our hook. 1, 2, 3. All right. And now we're going to go into this chain that we created. So we're going to yarn over, go into that chain, yarn over and pull up a loop. We have 3 loops on our hook. 1, 2, 3. We're going to chain 1, creating our foundation chain, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on our hook to make the half double crochet. So we're going to make 10 of these. So here's our chain. You can see them start to line up. You can start to see the V's become created. So yarn over, go into that last chain we just made, pull through a loop and chain 1. Then we yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. We're just going to do that for 10 times, and as you go along you're just going to be pulling your yarn out of all 5 skeins at once. So yarn over, go into that next chain. There's our V there. Yarn over, pull up a loop. We have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through 1, making that foundation chain. And then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on our hook. So you can see our chains starting here at the bottom. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to do a total of 10. So we're going to go into the next one. And just like with any project in crochet, your first row is always your the most challenging. So just be patient. And this one is very easy because the first row is only 10 stitches. So we yarn over, pull through 1 to make that foundation chain, and then we're going to yarn over, pull through 3 to make our half double crochet. And then we're just going to do that all the way across. Sometimes what can make this easier, this process easier, is you look for the V on top. There's your 5 strands there and your 5 strands there, making that V. And if you want, you can just go into that space with your finger so that you know where you're going into. Makes it a little easier. Yarn over, pull through that loop, yarn over and chain 1, and then yarn over, pull through all 3. And we'll just do that all the way to the end till we have 10 stitches all together. Chain 1 and half double crochet. Like I said, this is the hardest part, is the beginning. Let's get that. Let's find that V here. There it is. If you pull it apart, you can find it very easily. There's our V. Go into that V, yarn over and pull up a loop. And yarn over, pull through all three. If you have a basket of some sort to keep all your yarn in, it can make it easier for pulling them all out as you're going along. Okay, so let's take a look at how this pattern is going to work. So we just created our 10 stitches of double crochets, sorry, half double crochets. And now what we're going to do is we are going to work, we're going to turn our work and we're going to be working into, let me show you here. On a half double crochet, you have two sets of V's. You have the V's that are at the top of your work, and then you have these V's at the back. This would be the, depending on your orientation, this would be a front loop, this would be the back loop of your stitch, and then this is referred to as the third loop. And we're going to be working into this third loop throughout the pattern. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain one just as a turning chain, and then we are going to work 4 half double crochets, and we're going to work it into that third loop. I'm just going to make a little designation like this to show that we're working into a different spot. Then we're going to work our alternate double crochet into the next 3, and those are going to be a little taller. They're also going to be worked into the third loop. And then we're going to be working a little bit taller stitch called an extended alternate double crochet into the last 3. So let's take a look at that row now. Okay, so we're going to chain 1 as our turning chain. We're going to turn our work around. And we're going to start by working into the first stitch, and we're going to work into this stitch here, which is called the third loop. And we are just going to work a half double crochet. So we're just going to yarn over, go into that third loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, make sure you get it all onto the thick part of your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. So we're going to do 3 more of those. Again, as you can see, this is that third loop. There are the top V's, so it's this one here. So we yarn over, go into that third loop of that stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. So we do 2 more of those. And 1 more. Okay, so we have 4 half double crochets. And you can just get your yarn pulled out. Okay, so now we're going to work our 3 alternate double crochets. And these are pretty easy. So, and again, we're working into that 3rd loop. So we're going to yarn over, go into that 3rd loop, yarn over and pull up a loop. We have 3 loops on our hook. Now for a regular double crochet, we yarn over and pull through 2, and then yarn over and pull through 2. For an alternate double crochet, we're going to yarn over, pull through 1, and then we're going to yarn over, pull through 3. And what this does is it's going to make that 3rd loop on the back. It's going to make those V's on the back. If we do a regular double crochet, we don't get these nice V's in the back like we do with half double crochets. So essentially what we're doing is we're kind of creating, I guess you could also call it an extended half double crochet. So we yarn over, we pull up a loop, and we yarn over, pull through 1. And then we yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on the hook. So this is giving us the same height as a double crochet, but it's giving us that 3rd loop that's easy to work into in our on the other side. Okay, so now we're going to work the extended alternate double crochet. So let's take a look at how that works. So we start just like a regular double crochet again, and once again we're going to be working into these 3rd loops in the back. So we're going to yarn over, we're going to go into that 3rd loop, yarn over and pull up a loop. We have 3 loops on our hook. So what we're going to do that's different this time is we're going to yarn over and pull through 1, and then we're going to yarn over, pull through 1 again. So we've basically done 2 chains. Now we're going to yarn over and pull through all three loops on our hook. And what this does is it gives us a little bit taller stitch than the double crochet. So let's take a look at that again. And as you're working with your yarns, just you know, straighten them out as you go along. So we're going to yarn over, we're going to go into this 3rd loop, we're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. We have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on our hook. And in the beginning it's going to feel a little weird as you go through this, but you'll get the hang of it the more of these stitches that you do. So now we just do 1 more of those. Go into that 3rd loop, chain 2, 1, 2. We have 3 loops on our hook, and now we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, so we should have 10 stitches all together that we just completed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. And now what we're going to do is, let's take a look at how the next row goes. So now we're here and we're going to start working back this way. So to get the height that we need for this stitch, we are going to chain 3. But we're going to work, this is not going to count as a stitch. This is just getting us to the height where we want to be. And now we're going to work into this stitch here, and we're going to do the extended alternate double crochets for the next 3 stitches. Then into the alternate double crochets, we're going to do alternate double crochets. And again, all of these are being worked into that third loop. And for the pattern, I'll have the correct symbols for that. So we work 3 of those alternate double crochets, and then we're just going to work 4 half double crochets to the end. And again, all of these are going to be worked into that third loop. Okay, so we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. That gets us to the height where we want to be. And it's okay if your yarns are twisting a little bit. So now you're going to see on this side this cool element that we're creating is this row of V's, kind of a knitted look. And also the other thing that we're creating as we do this is this pattern is going to grow like this. You're going to have these knitted areas, and you're going to have it's going to grow like this. So you're going to have these shorter stitches at the top and these longer stitches at the bottom, so that we're going to have like a flare. And then this way the cowl will rest nicely around your shoulders. All right, so because we did these types of stitches, our back looks the same as half double crochets, where we have this V that lays on the side. So you can see we have our V's on the top, like we do in any kind of a crochet stitch. But with half double crochet stitches and also with alternate double crochet stitches, we have this V, this easy V to access on the back. So something I like to do is just double check my count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just to make sure we're not losing any stitches along the way. And now we're ready to do 3 of the alternate double crochets. So we're going to go into this third loop here, yarn over, pull up a loop. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then yarn over, pull through 1, 2, 3. And you will be pulling your yarn out frequently as you're going along. And the only challenges are when you get a little bit of yarn barf, as they call it. You'll just have to work that out as you go along. Okay, so that's one. We're going to do 2 more of those. Here's our next V in the back. This is our 3rd loop here. I've yarned over, go into that 3rd loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, chain 2, 1, 2, and then yarn over, pull through 1, 2, 3. And we're going to do 1 more of those. Yarn over, go into the next 3rd loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, chain 2, 1, 2, and then we go through 1, 2, sorry about that, 3 loops on our hook. Okay, so now we're ready to begin our alternate double crochets. So we're going to go into this 3rd loop. I'm going to yarn over, go into that 3rd loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, and we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. Let's do that again. Here's the next one. Yarn over, go into that 3rd loop of our stitch. We have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to chain 1, or yarn over, pull through 1, same thing, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on our hook. Sometimes you may drop one of the loops, just go back and grab it. And you know, as you're going along, make sure you don't miss the next stitch, because sometimes they can get a little bunched up. Pull your stitches open. This is our next stitch here, not this one. Okay, so this is our 3rd loop here. So 1 more of those alternate double crochets. The nice thing with this pattern is it's only 10 stitches, so you can kind of really keep count as you go along. We pull through all 3 loops. And now we're back to just the 3 easy half double crochets, and I like to count my stitches as they're coming up. Here's 1, 2, 3, and here's that 4th one. So yarn over, go into that 3rd loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. And we do these last 2. And you just are going to want to maintain your yarn frequently as you go along. It's definitely going to twist up as you go along, but as you are coming up on your stitches, you're just going to pull it and straighten it out as you go along. And it's okay if it's a little twisted, because this yarn, this project, you know, you are having that crazy color thing going on. It's not about the yarns being lined up perfectly. So we have 2 more stitches. We have 1 and 2. So we're going to go into this 3rd loop here, yarn over, pull up the loop, yarn over, pull through 3, and 1 more. All right, and we can count our stitches. This is our chain 3 that doesn't count as a stitch, so we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So perfect. We have our 10 stitches. And now we will come back again. We're going to do a chain 1, and then we're going to do our 4 half double crochets, and then our alternate double crochets. All of them are going to be into that 3rd loop. I'm just designating it with this little dot here. And then of course our extended alternate double crochets. And then you'll just repeat. So this is essentially like row 1 and 2, which if you do it as a foundation, those will be combined. Then this will be row 3. This will be row 4. And then this was row 5 is the same as row 3. So you're just going to be alternating rows 3 and 4. So if we look at our stitches again, we've created those V's on the top of all of our stitches. We're going to chain 1. We're going to turn our work, and again we have these nice the flat V's on the back, okay, and with our third loops here. All right, and so you're just going to continue in this way until you have the size that you're going to like for going around your neck, whether you want that to be, you know, wide, a wide circumference at the neckline, or you might want it to be narrow. It's up to you. So just go back and forth with row 3 and 4, and then I'll show you how we join it once it's all done. Okay, so I just finished on a row 4. You could really finish on either row 3 or row 4, doesn't matter. So let's show you how big mine is and how to close this up. So I went until mine was probably going to be about 22 inches all the way around, because I have this doubled up at the top, and on the bottom we are at, it's going to be about 40 inches around at the bottom. So 22 inches around at the top, 40 inches around at the bottom. And you know, if you wanted to make this come down further over your shoulders, you would just do more stitches than the 10 stitches and just divide it up evenly between half double crochet, alternate double crochet, and extended alternate double crochet. You'll just, you know, roughly divide it into thirds. So let's take a look at how we close this up, and be sure to stay for the end of the video where I'll have pictures of this and what it looks like on. And also if you could give it a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it, and please share it widely with your friends on social media. Take a look in the description below for links to all the other projects too. And also, really, please send me pictures, or actually even better, put links in the comment below with where everybody can see pictures of your version of the Color Pop Cowl. Okay, so let's take a look at how to close this up. Okay, so here I am. I finished a row 4. Again, I'll show you this again. I finished with a row 4, so I'm down here at the end. And what I'm going to do, you could do this many different ways. You could sew it with a yarn needle and just go in between the V's on one side and the V's on the other side. But I'm going to do it with a slip stitch instead. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chain 1 to give myself a little space. Okay, so there's really no wrong way to do this, but I'm just going to show you how I'm doing it with a slip stitch. What I want to do is I want the bottom half of these V's and let's say I want the inside of both of these V's to be showing on the opposite side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the outer loop of the V on one side and the outer loop of the V on the other side with my slip stitches. So this is my first stitch here. We can check it by counting them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. And we'll just double check on this side. We want to make sure we're matching them up. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to go into the outer V's, sorry, the outer line of the V's on either of these stitches. So I'm going to go into this one. It's going to tighten this up and then go into the outer V on this one. Going to yarn over, pull through those two V's, and then pull it through the loop on my hook. And I dropped one of these loops there. Sometimes that happens. All right, so let's do that again. So these are our flat V's in the back. I want to be working with the top V's. All right, so I'm going to go into this outer V and then this outer section of this V. Yarn over, go through both of those, and then through the loop on the hook. So let's look at that again. Here's my next V right here. I'm going to go in this outer side. And here's the next V on this side. I'm going to go through this outer side. Yarn over, pull through the loop, and pull that loop through the loop on my hook. So I'm going to just do that. Whoops, went in the wrong one. Outer one, outer one. And I'm just going to do that all the way down. Okay, so here we are on the last one. The last one can be easy to miss because it can sometimes get a little tightened up. But it's right here. There's that V. I'm going to go in the outer. And then here's our V here. This outer one. Yarn over. Pull it through those two and pull it through the loop on the hook. And now I can show you how that looks after that's completed. And I'm going to yarn over like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a really nice long tail for sewing in the end, just to be on the safe side. Let's see, maybe about 10 inches, no, sorry, 15 inches. And then I'm going to pull that through and pull that tight. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bottom starting tails and I'm going to sew that in, and I'm going to thread this needle. Let's see if we can get it to work. There we go. Got them all through. And you see how there's just like a little, I'm going to make sure I get that nice and tightened up. So I'm just going to go in here. And then I'm just going to weave this back and forth. And this is going to blend right in. So I can't go any further. And I think that might be as far as I can go. So that's good enough, and I'm going to get in nice and close and cut those ends. And then with this top edge, I'm just going to do the same thing. So this is the other side, and you can just wear this in the back, but even if it was in the front, it would be fine. It's not very noticeable. And there you go. So here is the completed version, and if you notice in the pictures, I also made another version, which this one that I just made here is very narrow at the top and has a nice wide base. Goes nicely over the top of your shoulders. If you want to make one that is more of a turtleneck and has less flare to it, like this one here, I'm going to show you the formula for making either one of those. Okay, so for the wide one, let's take a look at how we construct that. We've got a total of 24 rows, and when you make this, you have these lines, these V's. In between each of those V's represents 2 rows. This is one row coming down here, and this is the next row coming down here, and you can check that by seeing that we have a row of V's that comes right up the middle on the opposite side right here. Okay, so you're going to have a total of 24 rows, and as you know, we started out with 10 stitches, and for each of the rows it's going to be comprised like so: the 4 half double crochets, 3 alternative double crochets, and then 3 extended alternative double crochets. And that's what gives us this flare, because it goes from small to tall. Okay, so you're going to have a total of 24 of one of these sides, or 12 pairs. This would be a pair. This row here and this row here would be a pair. So depending on how you look at it. For the version that's more like a straighter cowl, more like a turtleneck, for that version we're going to work it a little differently. For that one, we are going to work just 20 rows, and each of those rows is going to be 10 stitches. What we're going to do is, in the beginning, we're going to work 6 rows where we work just all half double crochets. So instead of the way we did it in the other one, every stitch will be a half double crochet back and forth for 6 rows. Okay? And then when you get to this point here, you're going to do 8 rows in this manner, like we did in the wider one, where you do 4 half double crochets, 3 alternative double crochets, and 3 extended alternative double crochets. And obviously when you're coming down this way, you're working the half double crochets, and you finish with the extended alternative double crochets, and then when you turn around and come back the other way, you're working it in the mirrored form. So you're going to then start with extended alternative double crochets, alternative double crochets, and half double crochets, and you work that back and forth for a total of 8 rows. That's represented here. That's what's going to give you just a little bit of a flare in the front, and then you'll work 6 more rows of just the half double crochets. And when you're done, you will, just like we did with the wide one, you're just going to connect the 2 ends together and you'll have your cowl. So that's just the way to do the 2 different ways, the wider version and the little bit more straighter up and down version. There is your Color Pop cowl. I hope that you love it, and I'm looking forward to seeing your version soon. Please share your link to your photos in the comments below. Give this a thumbs up, and we'll see you again next week. Thank you for joining. Bye-bye.